coaching isn't that hard.
No.
It doesn't feel like it is. Like, I coach my daughter's basketball team. Right? And I'm not saying 12 and under girls basketball is the same as the NFL.
It kind of implies you are a little bit.
But we won the title last year. We literally didn't lose a game. And you know why? Because when it came down to crunch time, I'd be like, Josie, you got the ball. Everyone get the ball to Josie. Because Josie's our best player. Aaron Jones, your best player. Free Aaron Jones. Anyway, I'm at running back 12.
Josie.
Yeah, free Josie.
Right?
Josie's not free, though.
No,
Yeah.
Josie is free.
She's running free.
Josie's my tallest girl. She was great in the paint. Yes, we fed Josie.
Yeah.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry, served by Applebee's.
Happy Friday, and welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. I'm Connor Rogers alongside Matthew Berry and Denny Carter in the house.
Denny
How about
Carter
that?
in the house.
Free Denny Carter.
We have freed Denny Carter. We've gotten rid of Jay Croucher.
Yes.
We're going to need you to speak Australian and ruin movies for people.
I'm gonna try.
As well. Steven, can you show the photo? So yesterday we were just talking about good coaching. And
Right.
the importance of good coaching is just get the ball in your best player's hand.
Yes.
That's what I did with my 12 and under girls basketball team. We had Josie in the center. I had Sophia on the wing very fast. Here we are.
I can't imagine who Josie is.
Can you pick out which one Josie is?
I'm going to go with the 7-footer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. By the way, so that's me and the two other dads that help me coach. Can you tell which one's Josie's dad?
With the vest on, 100%. Yeah.
He's like 6'5" there, so
He's still got 10 rebounds
We
in him
got
somewhere.
we got two Samanthas, two Sophias, Josie, Brooke, and Grace. There on the team, the Navy SEALs.
That's awesome.
We went undefeated. Cheshire girls basketball under 12. We won last year, and again, you know what I did? Again, my coaching philosophy very simple. I got the ball in my best player's hands.
This is too complicated for Arthur Smith.
It is too complicated
Yes.
for Arthur Smith.
You know.
Apparently, Matt LaFleur as well. Exactly. And so, it doesn't feel like it's that tough. I have hardware, Arthur Smith. Do you? All right. I'm just saying. Something to think about.
Fair.
Something to think about.
What's the coaching hierarchy?
If you would like a team photo of everyone holding a trophy and going number one at the end of the year, like I have, get the ball in your best player's hands.
Yeah, if you want Bijan Robinson to have the trophy, you got to give it to him sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes would be nice.
At some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Occasionally we would use Josie or Sophia as a decoy. But generally speaking, our best players touch the ball.
It's all about the system with Arthur Smith. You didn't have a system. Your system was just get the ball.
My system was get the ball to the best girls on the team.
But his system, everybody is a servant to the system in the Arthur Smith offense.
It's insane. It's insane. Yeah. By the way, we ran it. You weren't here yesterday for this, but we ran a 2-3 zone.
Oh yeah.
12-year-old girls can't top a 2-3 zone.
Well, hey, no.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
That's a great scheme.
I'm just. It wasn't. It was allowed.
It's also really complicated. I feel like. For
It
that
actually
age.
isn't. It actually isn't. Here's what you do. You say, all right, Josie, you're in the middle. Sophia, you guys are on the wings. Brooke and Samantha, you're out there, right? And just just stay here.
Right.
Right.
this
Exactly.
space.
You just hear this space crowded in. And if they can, if a 12-year-old girl can drain a 20-footer, God bless.
Man. Yes.
Exactly.
That's great process. The zone is unbreakable. Did you ever press?
So
No, you can't press.
He badgered the league officials asking
didn't
if he could
badger
full court
for the-
press, and they said
No,
the
I
only
didn't-
thing you can't do in this league is full court press.
No, I didn't badger. I merely asked what
let
the rules were.
let the girls
Because I'm
bring
a
the ball
rule
up.
follower,
Yeah,
Danny.
for it.
You got to ask if you can press because the kids cannot break.
No.
No,
we know that.
I mean, because
too quick.
I would have done 40 minutes of hell. Now here's where we're going. Full court press the whole time. I would have done that, but no. Anyway, so we had the Navy uniform, so we were the Navy SEALs. The girls came up with that name on their own.
Awesome.
Anyway, and we're the defending champs. We're the team to beat. The road to the championship goes through us. There you go. Unfortunately, Josie's in 7th grade this year, so it might be a rebuilding.
Did you hit free agency
We did
pretty
lose
hard?
her, Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's 5th and 6th grade. It's 5th and 6th grade girls. Yeah, unfortunately.
It'd be interesting to see how many adjustments you make.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
Maybe
Sophia's the
man-to-man
fastest kid in the
defenses, yeah.
town, so we're all right.
all right.
We're going to be a transition team. We're in transition offense.
We're going to see what you're made of, honestly.
Yes. Yeah. Now it's on the coaches.
Yeah, of course.
It was a very
I'm drawing up a lot
players-driven
of
team.
X's and O's. All right.
Listen, Denny's in the house. He's with us for the Regression Files every Friday, but it's even better that he'll be with us for what's on tap as well. Before we get too
I
far,
think it's even better that Jay's not here.
I knew you were going to drive that point pretty hard.
Come on.
And
Jay's
Jay,
not here to defend himself.
Jay's at Danielle's wedding, who drank
Danielle's
free this
wedding.
week.
Yeah.
You and I got to keep the lights on.
1,000%.
So, it's-
Well, I will look, and
Somebody's got to stay behind.
Here's the important thing. I think that it is just to reference it. So it is Danielle, who's an executive here at NBC Sports and Rotoworld, specifically in fantasy and betting for the company. She does a great job, unbelievable job for us. And so she's getting married this weekend. And so one of her jobs here at NBC is this show, is overseeing this show. So Jay was invited to the wedding. So just so you understand that Danielle, whose professional opinion is, I've got to make this show as good as possible every single day. She's like, basically, that show can lose Jay. It's fine if he comes to my wedding. Mathew and Connor, somebody good has to still be on the show.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter if Jay's not there.
I like the spin
I
of this.
believe that is
Yes.
how it wound up that Jay is at Danielle's wedding and
I
you
like
and
the
I are
spin of
here.
this.
That makes you feel
And
better.
you're here too, Denny.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm glad I wasn't invited.
Yeah,
you know?
1,000%.
I'm not upset.
Yeah, no. That's what I assume the lack of invitation from me was just like that just like Danielle was just
Gotta
like,
have it.
listen, I'm very excited to celebrate my love in front of friends and family, but more importantly is that I keep my job, and if the show is not good, then I might lose my job, but like I won't lose my job if Barry's there.
It's a huge
But
insult.
Jay's there,
Yeah.
it's always 50-50.
We can't afford a bad Friday
No,
on
you
the
don't.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour.
No,
So,
although we may already be off to that start.
So-
Hey, real quickly, last thing here, veterans drink free. Veterans drink free.
yes, they do. Clap it up for the veterans. Before we get too far, we want to wish all our veterans a happy Veterans Day tomorrow. You always drink free at the happy hour. And, of course, our friends at Applebee's have you covered, too. Applebee's is doing their part to honor those who have served our country on Veterans Day. So for the 16th straight year, all veterans and active duty military can enjoy a free meal this Saturday at your nearest Applebee's. Choose from multiple popular entrees and add to the over 11 million meals Applebee's has contributed. Great job by our sponsor, our partner. We're very happy to share the set with Applebee's.
I wrote a little bit about this in my Love-Hate column, which is available for free on NBCSports.com, Rotoworld.com. They were the first casual dining restaurant to ever offer this. And now there's a number of restaurants out there that offer something similar in celebration of our veterans. And when I talked to Applebee's, they said, we're thrilled about that. Most people are like, why are you stealing our idea, whatever? And they're like, the more people that want to honor our veterans, the better. They love that it has become a thing. And so, again, I don't think it is possible to thank our veterans, past, present, and future, and their families enough. It is impossible to do so. So it's very nice that it's a small token based what Applebee's is doing, and we're thrilled and we're honored to be partners with them.
And with that, we jump into the Rotoworld player news. For all your Rotoworld player news, go to NBCSports.com. And where else to begin rather than Panthers-Bears. Thursday night football, Denny, and boy, was it a barn burner. Led by D'Onta Foreman, 21 carries for 80 yards, and most importantly, that touchdown. He also contributed 2 catches for 12 yards. We were wondering going into this game, Denny, how this backfield would shake out, especially with Khalil Herbert still not back officially playing with the team yet. And it was Foreman, not Roschon Johnson, that gets the bulk of the work.
Obviously, they wanted that revenge game for D'Onta Foreman against his former
Yes.
team, but also Foreman had been the primary ball carrier. He was splitting routes with Roschon Johnson. So I do think as long as Herbert is out, it looks like he'll be back next week, possibly. As long as he's out, Foreman is a, top 15 option, just because the Bears are one of the more run-heavy teams in the league. He's seeing almost all of the early down work, and he's seeing the goal line work, importantly.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think that's to the extent there is a takeaway from last night, other than just, we're gluttons for punishment.
Yes, sir.
Is that the touch count between D'Onta Foreman and Roschon Johnson was 23-9. Right. And we saw Johnson only played 40% of the snaps. You saw that stat on there. But I think Foreman, who was a healthy scratch for much of the season when Herbert and Roschon Johnson were up, the thought was, maybe that now that Roschon Johnson's back, is he going to retake this backfield? He's the rookie that they like a lot. And no, I mean, Foreman hasn't seeded any work. And so I feel like 10 days from now when the Bears come back and we say goodbye to T-Bag and we welcome back Justin Fields, it feels like Foreman will have a fantasy relevant role. My expectation is it's going to be Foreman and Herbert, and Johnson will kind of go by the wayside. But who knows? Maybe Johnson replaces Herbert as they work him back in. But to me, the workload here, where he's now had back-to-back games with over 20 touches and over 80 yards rushing, tells me that whatever the backfield looks like for Chicago next week, D'Onta Foreman is going to be a big part of it.
I agree, and I also think that Foreman doing well over these past few weeks could make it a kind of messy backfield situation, whereas Khalil Herbert, before the injury, was kind of fun for fantasy. He was running a lot of routes. He was seeing targets. The Bears were targeting the running back position at one of the highest rates in the league. He was seeing a lot of the carries. Now, with Foreman producing like he has, Herbert could come back to a scaled back role, which is unfortunate for those who held on for dear life to Herbert.
No doubt.
On the Panthers side of things, not much, honestly. Adam Thielen catches 6 of his 10 targets for 42 yards, which might be enough in your flex spot. Bryce Young, it just has not been a good rookie season for Bryce Young. And everything around him is bad, but in a vacuum, he looks bad as well. He just doesn't look confident. He's not comfortable for obvious reasons.
Very uncomfortable.
His offense doesn't have much in the way of playmaking talent.
No, there's Thielen and nobody else.
Right.
Jonathan Mingo every game has 200 air yards and no actual yards. You can't feed your family with those air yards. I've tried.
Have you?
Yeah.
How's that gone?
My kids don't like it. They want the real yards.
Yeah, Con Edison doesn't accept that when you send the utility bill.
That explains why I have all these notices.
Right, and so you have Thielen catching these underneath passes, kind of what we call the PPR scam on the Rotoworld football show. And he's come through in a lot of ways, but this Carolina offense has become so dysfunctional of late that he can't get away with it every week, and that's kind of unfortunate because he was really good for fantasy for a while.
Yeah, I think your window to have sold high on Adam Thielen has passed. So I think if you have Adam Thielen, you're still hanging tough. You like the fact that he's had double-digit targets in 4 of the last 5 games. He's had at least 10 targets in 4 of the last 5 games, but their upcoming schedule, they're home to Dallas. Oof. They're at Tennessee, an improving Titans defense. They're at Tampa Bay. All right, that doesn't scare you. Then they're at New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And at least because Thielen plays the slot, he'll avoid Lattimore. So, up and down schedule. If there's a positive, they should be throwing quite a bit in the second half when Dallas has got their backups in.
They should. Yes, that game could get ugly. Can I say something?
Not could.
Look, can I say something about this Panthers offense?
You say whatever you want.
I'm going to say
We're
this.
in a bar.
Okay, look.
You're the new Jay.
This, for fantasy purposes,
yes, sir.
We need Andy Dalton to be the quarterback of this team right now. Because with Bryce Young, Adam Thielen is like a PPR wide receiver 3-ish, okay? With Dalton, he's like borderline wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
And because Dalton can run this offense. I don't know, Bryce Young's future, may be better than his present, hopefully. But right now, he cannot manage this offense.
I know. But there's literally, barring injury, there's literally no chance of that happening.
I know. Yeah, you're right.
But because it makes no sense. They invested the number 1 overall pick, and if you're Scott Fitterer, and if you're Frank Reich, who are running the Panthers, what you need to do is we need to see what we have in Bryce Young, and if at the end of the year they don't think like he's going to make that leap, then they're going to be in a position to be able to draft a replacement, which would be insane that they traded up for Bryce Young, drafted him number 1 overall, and then they would still go out and try to get Drake May or Caleb
their first
Williams.
round pick. They traded it for Bryce Young.
Oh, that's true. They don't have that.
To
the
the Bears.
Maybe they trade it back. They say, we'll give you Bryce Young. Give it to us back. Can we do a swap?
I think they're stuck.
Refund.
I think they're stuck.
No, it's at least a 2-year trial.
They got to roll him out. They got to roll him out there. Andy Dalton, unfortunately, even though he gives them, quote, a better chance to win at the moment, they need to see what they have in Bryce Young. The only other takeaway for me from this game was just the backfield. Again, Chuba Hubbard does nothing. Miles Sanders does nothing. But the touch count was 11-4. Chuba Hubbard to Miles Sanders. To the extent that you want a Carolina Panthers running back, and next week against Dallas you probably don't, or the week after against Tennessee. And honestly, the week after that against Tampa Bay, you don't love either, right?
Sure.
But at least the week after that is New Orleans. Actually, you probably don't want a Carolina Panther running back at any time in the near future. But if you're in a deeper league, to the extent you do, it feels like it is still Chuba Hubbard. There were thoughts that maybe Miles Sanders on a short week might get more work, and he didn't, Denny.
Well, it would have been nice for me in one league to have Chuba Hubbard running those routes late in the game and getting those garbage time receptions because Miles Sanders got those.
Yeah, he's got a couple.
So I'm interested to see the breakdown of routes. But Hubbard is the only startable guy. Honestly, though, I think you can kind of ignore this backfield going forward.
1,000%.
Like I feel like you had to be scraping bottom in like 14-team league.
Yeah, and again, the upcoming schedule is not kind. They will at least have 10 days to prepare for the Cowboys.
Let's look at the injuries we're tracking. Getting away from this game and into the weekend, Kenneth Walker practiced in full. He was dealing with the chest injury that kept him out in the early portion of the week, looking like good news for Kenneth Walker. Justin Jefferson with the hamstring, he's still not expected to play. He's limited in practice. James Conner, Zay Jones, and Ja'Marr Chase and Keaton Mitchell all limited in practice, so keep an eye on those going into fantasy football pregame. A couple DNPs here that are very important. Dameon Pierce and Josh Downs. T. Higgins did not practice. He's not expected to play now. That's big news for the Bengals passing offense. Ruled out officially, and Nico Collins with the calf injury did not practice. Barry, which one of these? What's the trickle effect? I guess what we start with T. Higgins. That's one that's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, you see it there in your bottom screen. He's already been ruled out for Week 10, on a week in which I have Joe Burrow as my number 2 overall quarterback, and have him on the low list. Good,
Trent Irwin, baby.
Yeah. Good times.
Seriously, yeah.
Trent Irwin is actually he's a good DFS if you're playing DraftKings. He's dirt cheap on DraftKings, but also could be viable here.
In 12-team leagues where you start, multiple flex spots or whatever. I mean, Trent Irwin saw 10 targets last time T. Higgins was out, and honestly, this T. Higgins injury looks to me like the kind where he'll miss this week and possibly the following week. Hopefully, no more than that.
They're home to the Houston Texans, and Nico Collins is another one that's also concerning as well because the expectation here, like over/under in this game is 47. This is one of the higher games on the slate. We expect these are two teams that, Cincinnati's been okay running the ball. Houston's really struggled to run the ball, but neither defense has played great this entire year. Sure. And you expect C.J. Stroud and Joe Burrow to be able to move the ball back and forth. So if Nico Collins can't go. Yeah. That would be concerning, but very excited about the potential of Tank Dell in this one, and obviously, Ja'Marr Chase. But I do like the Trent Irwin call for sure.
Let's get into the regression files. Of course, Denny is with us this week. Usually, Denny joins us via his home studio instead. Yeah. Listen, the regression files.
And he dressed up. Look at it. No cardigan.
No. The great pumpkin.
Rolled up my sleeves and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Look at you. You're fitting right in. Yeah.
True professional over here. Listen, the players who are overproducing or underproducing based on their workload, playing time, and opportunity. You could read the regression files, of course, on NBCSports.com. But Denny, let's start with a negative regression pick to kick us off here going into the weekend.
Yeah. So. This sounds weird because Gabe Davis is fresh off scoring 0 points. And so how can he be a bad regression candidate? And my argument in this week's article is that things could continue to be horrible for him. This Dawson Knox injury, although Dawson Knox was not a fantasy dominator or even fantasy relevant in this Buffalo offense, has been terrible. His injury has been terrible for Gabe Davis. It's been great for Khalil Shakir, and it's been great for the rookie tight end, Dalton Kincaid. Okay, so Kincaid is basically the second option in the passing game now behind Diggs. I think Khalil Shakir is the third option. I think there's reason to believe Gabe Davis, who has been targeted on only 13% of his routes over the past 2 games, which is terribly low, is now the fourth option in this Bills passing attack. And you can roll him out there hoping for a big play or two, and sometimes he'll give that to you. But I actually think, guys, that Shakir is a better, more reliable PPR option this week.
I don't think it's crazy at all when you watch this Bills offense and you just look at how they consistently pepper him and Kincaid in the short area where Gabe Davis, we had some hope there, Mathew, once upon a time, but now it's gotten away from that the last couple.
It has been, and throughout his career, he's been very touchdown dependent. You know what I mean? And I've always said with Gabe Davis, and I sort of feel the same way. I don't disagree. I think your analysis is spot on. I don't disagree with it. But I've sort of been with Gabe Davis. This has been my take for like a year and a half now. Is it's like you can't try to guess with Gabe Davis. You either always start Gabe Davis or you never start Gabe Davis. It's like that's 16 when you play on blackjack. You either always stay on 16 or you always hit on 16. And you just you can't be like, oh, the table feels hot or it feels cold or third base doesn't know what they're doing. No. You either always hit on 16 or you never hit on 16. And I feel like that's with Gabe. It doesn't matter who he's playing. It doesn't matter what he's done the game before. Right. You either always start or never start Gabe Davis.
I will say Gabe Davis has been shut down against man coverage this year. So if the defense he's playing is playing a lot of man coverage, you might want to back off of him. But I agree, it is hard to say, like, the cycles of the moon determine whether Gabe Davis is going to catch a touchdown.
Yeah, because, I mean, the truth of the matter, because he could be doing nothing, but then late in the game, Josh Allen looks for him. I mean, he is somebody who gets a lot of red zone and end zone looks. And so it's like one of those things, it's like nothing. Oh, he scored a touchdown. And it's like it's 2 for 24, but a touchdown. And so
you know what you're getting.
You know what you're getting there with Gabriel Davis.
Mathew, how about negative regression candidate for you?
Yeah, you know what? I read your article, Denny. I scrolled over it.
Thank you.
And And I'm gonna be honest with you. Normally it's bathroom reading for me, but I decided
That's what you said
to
last
because
week.
I know. But you're here in person. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna finish up and then I'm gonna go and wash my hands.
Yeah.
Cleanliness is
hygiene
next to
matters.
godliness. Hygiene matters. Yeah. And then I read it.
Appreciate it.
And Gus Edwards is one that sort of popped out to me as well. So first off, and I gave the stat for love-hate as well, but just underscores what you're talking about here. Baltimore scored 27 touchdowns this year. 17 of them have come via the run. That's a 63% rushing touchdown rate, which has been below 50% each of the last 3 years. Now, I get it. Todd Monken's their new offensive coordinator, but still, it doesn't feel like you don't pay Lamar Jackson over $200 million to just keep running. So I feel like positive regression is coming for the passing attack, which means you're nervous about Gus Edwards scoring. And if he doesn't score on the ground, he's averaging under 6 fantasy points per game in games in which he does not get a touchdown. Browns allow only 2 rushing touchdowns this entire year to opposing running backs. So I just feel like we've been riding the Gus bus, if you will, and enjoying all the touchdowns. But I think negative regression is coming to him.
25% of Gus Edwards' carries over the past 2 weeks have gone for touchdowns. Okay, like I just have a feeling that can't last. You know?
Right, exactly.
I think that's going to come back to earth. But the thing is, though, this is a Ravens offense that is really run heavy in the green zone. And so you're going to have Lamar keeping it sometimes, hopefully, and scoring those rushing touchdowns, or he's going to give it to Gus Edwards, and he scares defenses. Lamar scares defenses into just freezing, and waiting for him to take off. Gus Edwards faces some good fronts. He plunges into the end zone. So he has that role, which made me nervous to put Gus Edwards. He's the cover guy on this article.
Yeah, sure.
But he has that role. But he, like you said, Mathew, is entirely touchdown dependent. He's not doing anything else.
Yeah, and also the other thing that's a concern here that isn't, there's not a numbers to this, but I thought Keaton Mitchell looked really good last week, and Todd Monken coming out this week talking about the fact that he's earned more role. He's earned more playing time. Like, he was really impressive. Now, he showed up on the injury report. He's got a hamstring. He's been limited, but assuming he's good to go, does this, what was a two-headed committee, just Gus Edwards and Justice Hill and Gus Edwards at the top of that, is this now suddenly a three-headed committee plus Lamar Jackson?
In the first half last week, Mitchell, Edwards, and Justice Hill each saw 4 carries. This is before it became a huge blowout against the Seahawks. So I think that you're onto something there. I think it could be a 3-way committee.
Yeah, so that's another concern. And so, again, they get weird when they get into the green zone. And lately it's been all Gus Edwards, but you could certainly see Justice Hill, who got some green zone stuff early in the season. Do they want to get the rookie some run? Again, yes, Lamar, bootlegs and keeps it himself.
Please run more,
Please.
Lamar.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Lamar's been I had a question. This came up. I did a radio show yesterday. Like, I don't want to brag about that. No big deal. But I did a radio show. I called in. Shout out to my guys, Mason and Ireland. Steve Mason was the first person that ever put me on the radio. 710 ESPN Radio in LA. Nice. And so I've literally done that show for 20 years. He was the first guy that ever let me do anything publicly. So love those guys. Anyway, but I did the show. The reason I bring it up is I did the show yesterday. And it's one of those start, sit, this or that kind of question. And so they call in and some guy says to me, who would you rather start this week, Lamar Jackson or CJ Stroud?
Really?
Which, you know what I mean? Like, well, come on, Lamar. And then you're like, well, actually,
yes. I don't know.
Right. Stroud has a great matchup against Cincinnati. He's coming off 4 sets. And by the way, Lamar Jackson, fantasy-wise, only fantasy-wise, has been really bad the last couple of weeks. Yes. As they've gone run heavy, it's been all Gus Edwards. He hasn't done a lot. I mean, he's had under 15 fantasy points in back-to-back games. And so, I was just like, that's not a crazy question. He's like, I'm sorry, I know this is a crazy question. I'm like, dude, that's not a crazy question at all.
It's not. But
especially because you've got Lamar against Cleveland.
I think you have to start Lamar.
I know.
Yeah, you do.
Which is ultimately what I said on the air, but I'm just like,
because
like I said, it's not crazy. Yeah. But I have them pretty close to each other in the ranks.
No, I don't blame you for that. But yeah, I mean, Lamar's rushing obviously gives him a little more floor than CJ Stroud has, I think, on a weekly basis.
But it's absolutely not a crazy question.
No, it's not.
Given the matchup against Cleveland and Lamar's lack of production and how much we like CJ Stroud this week against Cincinnati.
And something we've talked about is the Ravens' schedule is about to enter brutal range, and that might pull out more of Lamar and more of him needing to be Superman again, where in the last couple of weeks he hasn't. How about some more positivity in terms of the positive regression, Denny?
Right.
I know you're staying in the backfield on this one.
Yeah, Alexander Mattison. Look, I tried all season, guys, to not put Alexander Mattison in this article because he's just so brutally inefficient, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't help it. After this Cam Akers injury, he tears his other Achilles. Unfortunately, he's now out for the year. We're going to see Ty Chandler probably be active on game day, probably be the RB2 for Minnesota. But Akers had become an issue for Mattison, especially in the red zone. Over the past 3 games, Akers had 28 rushes to only 40 for Mattison, and Madison's route running had come down a little bit because Akers had taken on that role. So without Akers, I think Mattison sees more of that. Mattison sees all the inside the 10, inside the 20 work for the Vikings. You're starting him anyway. Where you drafted him in the 5th round or whatever, you're starting him. You're not happy about it, but I really think that his touchdown scoring should regress in a good way going forward.
Yeah, yes. And I will say that, Josh Dobbs is a downgrade from Kirk Cousins. But
It
is. But he is a competent quarterback who will elevate this offense from what we were expecting, right? It's a good thing that Josh Dobbs is there. And the one thing that I think is interesting is that Josh Dobbs is a lot more mobile than Kirk Cousins, and that should open up. We have seen this traditionally throughout fantasy over the last 5-6 years, even maybe longer. But the more mobile a quarterback is, the more it opens up the run game. Like as you were just talking about with Lamar Jackson and Gus Edwards. Like when you've got a mobile quarterback, they usually keep a spy on that quarterback. So you've frozen a linebacker, and it just opens up running plays, especially if they're doing RPO really well. Kevin O'Connell's a pretty creative offensive coach, and so whether it's this week or not, whether they've had enough time to install that kind of stuff, but I do feel like the threat of Dobbs' rushing opens up some lanes for Mattison as well.
And also Dobbs in Arizona checked down to his running backs and his tight ends a lot. So I do think that he can keep Hawkinson going, and then hopefully Mattison can get in on that action, maybe 4 or 5 catches going forward per week.
And obviously, and you just talked about, brutal injury to Cam Akers, and so now Ty Chandler. It feels like he has less competition in that backfield.
Right. They don't like Ty Chandler. I don't know.
No.
Every year we're like, okay, well, this is going to be Ty Chandler, and they seem to see him as a last-ditch resort.
Yeah, he always has a good summer, and you're like, everyone's excited, and then he's not active.
And what's weird is, I agree with you, by the way, but NBC constantly calls me the Ty Chandler of the company.
Last resort.
Yeah, last-ditch resort.
Barry's got to be active today.
I was always just like, I see the bosses in the hallway. They're like, Ty Chandler. And I'm always just like, thanks. And now I'm thinking about it. Oh, they think of me as the last.
You thought it was because you're fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's fast.
Little did you
that I
know.
wasn't appreciated by, Ty Chandler wasn't appreciated by the Jets. I wasn't appreciated by my former team. But maybe it's just last-ditch resort. Yeah.
How about a positive regression pick for you, Barry?
I want to be clear.
Yeah, hold on to your butts here, people.
So happy about
This is not, I am choosing this not because I want to. All right? I shouldn't be choosing this. But the fact of the matter is that we're dealing with a situation where there is not rational coaching in Atlanta. And so Tyler Allgeier, you would think I'm going with Bijan, and I'm not going with Bijan. I should be going with Bijan, but I'm not, because unlike me and my championship coaching with 12 and under girls basketball, Arthur Smith does not get the ball in his best player's hands. What he does do is get the ball to guys like Tyler Allgeier. And by the way, and I feel bad for Tyler Allgeier, who's a nice little player.
He's good.
He's good. He's a 4th round rookie. He has made the most of what God has given him. We like Tyler Allgeier. We just don't like him more than Bijan Robinson. But we are not Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith does. Tyler Allgeier has outsnapped Bijan Robinson in the red zone this season, 26-12.
Amazing.
More than twice as many touches in the red zone for Tyler Allgeier than the guy you used the 8th overall pick on. But on those 26 touches that Tyler Allgeier has had, only 3 touchdowns. So the expectation here is that that needs to change in a positive way. They continue to use him in the red zone and in the green zone as well. Teams facing the Arizona Cardinals, which is who Atlanta plays on the road this year, averaging over 26 running back touches per game. You're already starting Bijan, but I do think Tyler Allgeier, who made my love list as a flex viable play, I do think positive touchdown regression is coming for Allgeier.
Arthur Smith had several notable press conferences this week.
This
week he's been in front of the press, more than the president. And so he got in front of the reporters and he said, hey, look.
But weirdly lower approval rating.
Strangely. Tyler Allgeier, he said Tyler Allgeier is a good short yardage and goal line back, and we will continue to do that. We will continue to use him like that. So I don't think that there's any huge change coming. They might just to get the reporters off his case a little bit. He might give Bijan Robinson one carry near the goal line, get him into the end zone, and say, "Here, I did it. Are you happy now?"
Right.
But Allgeier is still the primary guy.
After 2 Jonnu Smith sweeps don't work on 3rd down.
How bad was that?
Brutal.
That was unbelievable.
Like,
He can't quit those.
Did you see the quote? The quote where it's just like, he goes, "We need to be better in the red zone. I got to figure out why." You're like, I don't know why. Maybe it's 26-12. Tyler Allgeier to Bijan Robinson.
A tight end sweep.
I haven't seen that
with
since Jonnu Smith. By the way, if you're gonna do a tight end sweep, how about Kyle Pitts, who's actually fast?
No, you can't use him. Mike Martz is the last guy I saw do that tight end sweep thing, and it didn't work then either. So
no, I mean Sean Payton has done some stuff like this. Like you see it every once in a while, but like Arthur Smith,
for teams that have to resort to that. They should not have to resort to that.
No.
They have Bijan Robinson, the best
Kyle
running
Pitts.
back prospect since at least Saquon
Again,
Barkley.
if you wanted to run a tight end, why wouldn't you do it with Kyle Pitts, who is a fat? I mean, I get it. Jonnu Smith's a bigger body, and maybe you're thinking like goal. But
maybe.
And Jonnu Smith did have that one. That was it 60 yards? 60-yard reception.
Yeah, and he's fast.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against Allgeier, nothing against Jonnu.
Yeah.
But we'd like to see the other guys get involved.
It just I've said this many times on this show, Denny, and then we'll move on. But what I've said is that it's one of two things. If what you're telling us is that Jonnu Smith or Tyler Allgeier gives you a better chance at winning, that you think after all the practices and the film work that you guys have done, more than I have, like they've studied the Falcons more than I have, no questions asked. But if you're telling me after all that film work that you guys think Jonnu Smith is better than Kyle Pitts, that Tyler Allgeier gives you a better chance to win than Bijan Robinson, then what that is that's a massive miscalculation and F-up in the draft process.
Yes.
Because you guys used top 8 overall picks on Pitts, who was number 4 overall, and Bijan, who was number 8 overall. Like, for a team that doesn't have wall-to-wall talent, to use it on a tight end and a running back, they need to be elite prospects, and they were considered that coming out of college. So I don't know what it is, but it's one of those two things.
I do have a great stat, though, for Bijan Robinson drafters. This will make your heart warm. Bijan Robinson leads all running backs in pass routes. There you go. Okay, so what do you want beyond that? He's not seeing targets. He's not getting catches, but he has those routes.
Unlike air yards, can you feed your family on pass yards?
Tried to do that
on pass routes.
My dog wouldn't even eat the pass routes. So what can you do?
Tough scene. Listen, one piece of news here.
All of us that have Bijan are running bad.
One piece of news here before we get to break. Kyler Murray officially announced as the starter, the return as the quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals. I think a big boost across the board here, guys, not just for Hollywood Brown, but Denny, maybe even Michael Wilson's return from injury as well. Just an overall gigantic boost for an offense that goes from Clayton Tune last week to Kyler Murray this week.
I would love to see, I can't wait to see if Kyler Murray runs the way we're used to him running.
Is that like some sort of video game graphic over him?
I think it's Spotify.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes, it is. It is,
Okay.
yeah.
It is Call of Duty season right now.
It is Call of Duty.
It just feels weird that they would do.
I agree. It's trending. It's like a little too close.
Is he a Spotify? Is he a podcast? Oh, is it now playing?
Now
I get
playing.
it. Now playing.
He's
I get
now
that.
playing.
Oh, that's well done.
Yeah,
Arizona Cardinals.
there you go.
You're very clever.
go.
I see what you did there.
But yeah, I mean, we
Very
talked about it. I
clever.
talked about it with Pat Doherty on the Rotoworld football show the other day. I think Kyler can get this offense going. Can distribute the ball, can get Marquise Brown the ball, can get James Conner the ball.
Trey McBride.
James
To your
Conner's
point about
coming back.
James Conner, by the way, Jonathan Gannon said this is from Tyler Drake on Twitter. Arizona Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon said running back James Conner, quote, is trending in the right direction, unquote. So they're going to see how he holds up at practice today, but the hope and expectation is that he will make his debut on Sunday as well. But, not official yet, but heading in the right direction for James Conner.
Absolutely.
So that offense becomes interesting all of a sudden with Kyler Murray and Conner back, Hollywood Brown, the emergence of Trey McBride. Michael Wilson's had some real nice moments this year as well. So,
Well, they're going to beat the Falcons. We know that.
I think that I would love that.
Cardinals money line all day.
All day. Yeah.
That was Lawrence's
Go Cardinals.
one of Lawrence's bets for the
Yeah.
week, and he's a Falcons fan.
Lawrence Jackson.
Kind of makes you think a little bit.
Yeah.
So, listen, it's Big Ten Saturday night. Michigan State, Ohio State Saturday on NBC and Peacock. Here comes Saturday night.
It's the
Presented-
Ohio State University.
Only if you went there, which
Yeah.
I did not. Presented by Discover. We're going to break. When we're back, it's What's
I
on
hope they
Tap.
kill
We're up
him.
at the bar.
I hate Michigan State.
Well,
With a fiery passion.
The 32-point spread suggests that.
Good. Go Buckeyes.
Let's take a look at Barry's top wide receiver ranks going into the week here, guys. And obviously, a very notable name in Ride or Die, Amon-Ra St. Brown on this list. Always highly ranked Amon-Ra St. Brown. And earlier in the week, the guys got to talk to Mr. Ride or Die, the sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So take a listen.
We are thrilled, I have to say, to welcome in Amon-Ra St. Brown, fantasy legend, fantasy superstar. And he's joining us today to remind you to try Old Spice Swagger deodorants and body washes. Old Spice Swagger gives you confidence to perform with 24/7 long-lasting freshness and is available at a store near you.
Hey, Amon-Ra, your nickname, the Sun God, I think that's one of the better nicknames going around, but just wanted to get your verdict on it. Are you pro or con on that nickname?
Shoot, I like it. I love it, man. Nicknames are usually things that other people give you. You're not supposed to really give yourself a nickname. That's kind of weird to me. So when I was never called the Sun God until I got here to Detroit, and they kind of, took that and ran with it. And shoot, I've been rocking with it ever since. Whatever the fans like, I like too. So they're amazing. Some of the best fans out. So Sun God is a first when I first got here, but like I said, they've been using it ever since I got here, and they love it, and I love it.
Hey, what do your friends call you, just out of curiosity? Do they call you Amon-Ra? They call you Ra? Amon-Ra? What do your friends refer to you as?
Yeah, so here in Detroit, my teammates, they call me Saint. Back home, they call me Amon. Some people call me Amon-Ra. I mean, I got a bunch of different names that they love to call me.
Fair enough. I like that. Oh, Saint, though. I like that.
Yeah, I like Saint.
I think that's pretty cool. I'm curious. So one of the things so you're known as Saint, you're known as Amon-Ra, you're known as the Sun God, you're known as a fantasy and NFL legend. But what you may not know this is one of the things I'm known for is I am known every year I come out with my fantasy ride or die. This is the one guy that I'm planting my flag on and saying this is the guy I believe in more than any other player in the NFL. I am staking my name to this guy. It's had a pretty good track record. Last year was Jalen Hurts. 2 years before that, it was Austin Eckler. Guys that have, that are good, but that maybe haven't reached national prominence yet. And obviously, those guys have. This year, I named Amon-Ra St. Brown my fantasy football ride or die. You've made me look very smart, by the way, so congratulations on a great season so far. But I was just curious, has anyone told you that? Has that reached your radar at all? Are you aware of that at all?
I don't play any fantasy, but I will say a lot of people reach out to me, whether it's, over Instagram, a bunch of DMs that I get. I would say over like 90% of them are regarding fantasy. When I'm out at the grocery store here in Detroit, out eating, getting dinner, and there's fans that, they'll want to say what's up to me, tell me to keep going. I'm having an amazing season. And then they always finish it with, and I got you on my fantasy team, man. So keep balling out. So I understand how big fantasy is. It's huge. Like I said, I don't play it, but I know a bunch of fans play it, a bunch of people that follow the NFL play it, and it's really become like its own business, I guess. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see how it's kind of funny to see how serious some people take it. But like I said, I play the game, so I can't, I don't really get caught up too much in the fantasy. But I understand for the fantasy players, man, that's their lineup, man. That's something they take super serious. So I get it.
Yeah, no, it is. It's in our little world, we take it seriously. By the way, you should not care about it at all. You should focus on helping the Lions win a Super Bowl. But I was just curious. It sounds like most of the interactions have been pretty positive. There's in any walk of life, there's always some jerks, but it sounds like it's pretty positive. And you say 90% of your interactions are around fantasy. Have any of your friends or your family members hit you up saying like, "Hey, I'm trading for you," or "Give me some inside information"?
Some of my friends do play fantasy, and they've asked me, about how the week's looking, whatever, this, that, and the other. But none of my close friends or family, my family doesn't play it, but none of my close friends have really gone too deep into fantasy and questions with me because they understand, like, I'm gonna go out there and play my best. At the end of the day, I can't really control what happens out there. So my close friends understand that, and they know, if I do get the chance to make a play, I'm going to do my best to make it. But like I said, each week is different. But no, the interaction has been pretty positive. That's a testament to how well I've been playing, how well we've been playing as a team. But that 1 week I did miss was it against the Panthers. Some people weren't too happy. I'm sorry I let you guys down. I didn't play. I was hurt. I couldn't play, but for the most part, it's been pretty positive.
Amon-Ra, listen, you're one of our favorite players in the NFL. We actually, I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if we can show you, but we literally have your jersey hanging in our studio right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
If you can see 14 right there, yeah.
Hey,
so
yes,
we have you hang, and that's, by the way, when they angle the camera at me, that's because I normally sit. This is where I normally sit during the show. So when they angle at me, you see your jersey right behind me because, again, you're my fantasy football ride or die. So
there we go.
Yeah, so listen, it's been a thrill to watch you play this season. The Lions are a lot of fun. We're all big fans here of you and of the Lions. So continued success, my friend, this season.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Nothing is as easy to enjoy as a Sunday full of football and a fridge full of beer, but these are the games we're locking in on. And before we get to them, that was the definitive interview with Amon-Ra St. Brown. You can watch the full thing on the NFL on NBC YouTube channel.
That's right. Right. Just, you know what you ought to do? What we would love you to do. Pop open an ice-cold Bud Light, turn on YouTube, watch the entire thing. There you go. Like that. That's also easy to enjoy. Just, glug with a Bud Light while you're watching me interview the entire Amon-Ra St. Brown interview, the definitive Amon-Ra St. Brown interview. All other interviews after this of Amon-Ra St. Brown are irrelevant because we got to the essence of the man.
Denny's first time up at the Fantasy Football Happy Hour bar for What's on Tap.
And welcome, dude.
We will start with the Lions at Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 3 points in this game. The over-under is set at 48.5. That is the highest of the week. Denny, I'll start with you. How do you see the Lions' backfield playing out with the return of David Montgomery? Jahmyr Gibbs owners kind of shiver when they hear that.
Yes, and I think that this might be a situation like I referred to earlier in Chicago, where Foreman has performed so well in Herbert's absence that he could maintain a role. I think Gibbs has shown what he can do to the extent that he's not going to go back to that. We're not going to go back to that like 70-30 split between him and Montgomery. I think it'll be maybe more like 60-40, maybe even like 55-45. But the thing is, David Montgomery will still see the red zone action, will still see the goal line carries. So Gibbs will have to score on longer runs, honestly, to get there for fantasy. They're both startable, especially in this game. But Gibbs obviously takes a major hit with Montgomery coming back.
I have Montgomery ranked higher than Gibbs, to your point, but
right.
I have him at 16 and 18. So I'm both guys as top 20 guys, and I think you're right. Look, the fact is that Dave Montgomery played over 70% of the snaps in every single game this season. Week 1, weeks 4 and 5. That every full game this season. The games that he didn't leave early due to injury, and at least 20 touches in each one of those games. Okay, but Jahmyr Gibbs, to your point, like you can't put that genie back in the bottle.
No.
I also think Dan Campbell is kind of an old school coach. Like, we play our guys, we play our veterans. I want to go into the middle. And I think these two quotes are really telling from Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator. First off, he said, quote, this is Ben Johnson now, looking forward to getting Gibbs and Monty both their fair load of touches. They both have proven worthy of it. And then he added, quote, I think both these guys are within those top 11 players that we have on offense, so there's a strong argument to get both of them out there together more often. So we like Ben Johnson as an offense coordinator. He is very creative. You could see them now, I've got a new toy to play with a little bit now that Gibbs has proven he can handle a big workload, and you got Monty back healthy. The fact is that for our purposes, if you have one of them, you're starting them.
Detroit is a massively run-heavy offense.
Yes.
I think that's something that's kind of gotten lost in the season, is that they're not balanced, they're not pass-heavy. They're a team that wants to establish it and establish it as hard and for as long as possible. I think Montgomery and Gibbs could see, 15 touches against the Chargers.
Yeah, I think they both do, but I agree with you, but like who's got the better chance of getting into the end zone? It's Dave Montgomery.
Our next game, Texans at Bengals. The Bengals are favored by 6.5 points. The over-under just 2 points shy of Lions-Chargers. This is at 46.5. Now, Denny, I know you write the funnel report on NBCSports.com, basically looking at, where an offense is funneled through, where it should be through. And, we start this one with, is either Texans running back worth starting when we've seen how pass-happy the Texans offense are going into a matchup that maybe you're looking at it and saying they should be pass-happy in this matchup?
Yes. So Devin Singletary last week with Dameon Pierce out. And by the way, Dameon Pierce looks like he's going to be out again this week.
Nico Collins, too, by the way. Why
Well,
we've been
neither
taping
of them
the show.
spotted at practice today, Friday. That came in just over the commercial break.
And
so
I would be shocked if Pierce suited up. So Singletary will again be the RB1 here. He had 15 touches last week. It's hard to find 15 touches on your waiver wire. So
can you feed your family on those touches?
No, you can't.
Oh, interesting.
You get 25 yards.
Only Scott Fishbowl.
And yeah,
I'm not kidding.
Yeah. So
Don't get me started on Fishbowl.
I was actually shocked to see Singletary saw that sort of workload.
Yeah.
That's good, I guess, but he's really still a desperation option. The Bengals are a pass funnel defense. They have been all season. Teams really attack them through the air. I think we could get another 40-plus dropbacks for Stroud in this game.
Since week 6, the Bengals are the 7th best run defense in the NFL. To your point, they are a pass funnel defense, so you need to get there. Again, Nico Collins not spotted at practice today, so I think this is a big Tank Dell game this week. You'll see some Dalton Schultz, maybe some Noah Brown. Does John Mechie get into the mix? Do they bring back Robert Woods? So we'll see there. But Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz both top plays for me this week. Schultz has a 28% target share since week 5. It's worth noting the Bengals bottom 3 in the NFL in terms of most yards allowed to opposing tight ends. We saw Dalton Kincaid have a monster game against the Bengals last week as well. So I think Schultz, who's been a big target for C.J. Stroud, should have another big game, especially if Nico Collins is out and or limited.
Bengals, real quick on that note, have struggled against the slot. And so you have Schultz and you have Noah Brown primarily playing the slot for Houston.
Yeah, so Noah Brown, an interesting punt play this week.
Our final game here, the Niners, they're 3-point favorites at Jacksonville. The over-under is set at 45. And Mathew, let's get into really the nuts and bolts of this one. In Deebo Samuel's return, does he instantly go back to must-start status?
I'm at wide receiver 13.
That
so
tells you by far,
unless you have all 12 of my guys, probably you're putting them right back in there. Like all 3 games that he's run at least 20 routes this season, which is, his healthiest games, 25% target share. Jacksonville, since week 5, giving up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. The only issue with Deebo being back is that doesn't help Ayuk or George Kittle. Specifically to George Kittle. Like without Deebo this season, he's got 5% higher target share. He averages over 1.5 fantasy points per game, 11.3 to 12.7 with Deebo versus without. And then Brandon Ayuk, without Deebo this season, weirdly, he's actually been better. Without Deebo this season, he's averaging 12 points a game. With Deebo, 17.7. So weirdly, Deebo takes attention away. So you're still starting Ayuk, who's my wide receiver 6 this week. You're obviously still starting Kittle because it's Kittle and it's tight end. But I do think having Deebo back hurts the upside of Kittle.
Absolutely, yeah. Kittle, it's a boom-bust situation. You're hoping for a touchdown.
Yeah, which unfortunately with a lot of tight ends, that's where we've gotten.
Aren't we all?
All right, that'll do it for What's on Tap, presented by Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. We're going to one more break. When we're back, it's last call. Denny enters the pickup lines arena. We got pickup lines for Mathew.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
Buckle up, Denny.
Drink up.
Drink up's better than buckle up.
You need to pound 2 Bud Lights in the commercial break.
I'll do it.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use promo code Barry when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. It's time for some pickup lines going into the weekend. Denny, what's the best you got from Mr. Barry over here?
I have maybe the best slam dunk of the entire season here. And
all right.
I'm so confident in this. It's
you want me coming home with you?
I do, and
I understand that. Listen, you're away from your family. You're in a hotel room in Stamford, Connecticut. You're lonely.
Yeah,
I get it.
And just have a couple beers.
We all need companionship.
So I'm ready to go. Evan Engram.
Okay.
His reception total is set at 5.5.
All right.
I'm going over. I'm going way over.
I'd
be comfortable with 6.5. Over 6.5.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
The Jaguars target the receiver position at the league's 10th lowest rate. It's a very weird situation there. Engram has become the leading target getter in this Jacksonville offense over the past month. He has at least 7 targets in 7 of his 8 games this season. 2 weeks ago, we saw this 49ers defense allow 15 combined targets to the Vikings. Tight ends overall average almost 9 targets per game against the 49ers. Lots of middle of the field stuff for them. Engram, he might not do much with it, but I'm telling you, he's catching 7 or 8 passes this week.
And the line's only 5.5 receptions.
Yeah.
And it's plus money, plus 124.
Yes,
Denny
it is.
came in with a bold plus money
All right.
line.
Yes.
So I followed up. This is my most bold pickup line of the entire season. It probably won't get bolder than this. Tony Pollard, anytime touchdown. 2 anytime touchdowns,
Wow.
plus 320. Tony Pollard needs a get-right game more than anyone.
You're
the
right.
Giants are lifeless. Dallas, they are not going to take their foot off the gas in this game. Dallas is going to have time of possession by about 80%, I think, in this one. Tony Pollard, 2 touchdowns, plus 320. Yes, it's a long shot bet, but if you're looking for a double touchdown score going into the weekend, I love Tony Pollard to finally have that big week he's been missing for about 2 months.
So I was just looking this up, make sure I had this stat right. I like both bets quite a bit. The Giants have allowed the 3rd most rushing touchdowns to running backs this year in the NFL. Like, they give up a ton of RB scores.
Yeah.
So it's swinging for the fences. 5.5 strikes me as a lot. I know that it's a pass funnel defense, especially for tight ends. But they're also off the bye, and maybe they address that. I mean, 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard definitely scores this week. And
Yes.
but would he get a 2 touchdowns? And the odds are what?
Plus 320. He's minus 160 for
I'm
one
doing that
touchdown.
one. I'm doing that one. I'm doing plus 320, 2 touchdowns. I do, because I could see it coming in bunches, because he's getting a lot of red zone work.
Yeah.
He hasn't converted. Positive touchdown regression. Maybe someone to consider for your article there, Denny.
He's been in it every week.
I know.
That's a problem.
But I actually do like both bets, and I will say that pickup lines as a segment, we've been crushing all year long.
It's our best segment. If you actually like making money, it's our best segment.
Right. And by we, I really mean like you guys, because I just sit here and it doesn't matter what I pick, because all
But
the
you always
bets end
pick
up-
right.
I do always pick right, but
they're usually not wrong.
They're usually not wrong. There's no wrong answer because they all cash. I think both of them cash. Hey, do me a favor. Stick around until Sunday, fantasy football pregame.
I'll be there.
All right, excellent. 11 a.m. Eastern on NFL on NBC YouTube channel and Peacock. We'll see you then. Use hashtag FFPregame to get your question in. It's closing time, which means you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. For Denny Carter, for Connor Rogers, for myself, and the champion Blue Navy SEALs. Peace out. Hey, it's Mathew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Rotoworld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.